All right. All right, guys, so we are ready to start now. Thank you so much, and thank you for the patience. So, hi everyone, let's start over. And as Helena was saying, I'm Yannick. I'm from Copenhagen Cocktail Academy, the one with the bow ties. Throughout the past 2 weeks, I've had the sheer joy of organizing this event with Helena and trailblazing the entire world for making sure everybody got their packages in time. So, as you know, in your package you have a bunch of stuff, and hopefully you have been able to see through the welcome letter how to use it and when to use it. And now we've come to the cocktail part. So a few things before we start. First of all, make sure you have your glasses and your ice ready. I guess you were already very well prepared. I see some of you even have their personalized apron on, so I'm very happy to see how well prepared you are. Super cool. So yeah, the idea is that we're gonna do a small introduction on what kind of company we are and who I am, and then we're gonna start mixing relatively quickly with the first drink, so you get something to say cheers with, and also make sure that you have a glass of water right next to you, so you can ensure to get yourself hydrated, at least. So yeah. Cocktail Academy. Yeah, we specialize in also. Yes, was that a question? The last thing I would like to say is that questions can be done throughout the event. So if you have anything that I say that you might not be agreeing with, or maybe you need to just ask a simple question, just say Yannick, and I will stop talking, and you will be able to do the question. Also, another thing is that don't do anything before I say do it, because sometimes people, they start to mix and then they do it in a different pattern. And the idea is that you guys need to be dressed to do cocktails based on what you're about to learn today. So I would like to say welcome to all the foreigners as well. Welcome to France, welcome to Germany, and welcome to Switzerland. It took forever to do the the custom papers, but I see that the cases went on and arrived safely. I'm happy for that, and also welcome Sweden. So with that said, let's go right ahead. So basically, in Copenhagen Cocktail Academy, obviously we've been experiencing a fair share of lockdown difficulties. So I will also, on behalf of me and the entire team that is right now packing their asses off in the storage, to say thank you for the opportunity to do this event with you. As you know, doing cocktails is obviously a matter of obviously tolerance, but also a matter of taste buds. So what I firstly want to do is just briefly go through what you have in your box. Obviously, I made a box for myself as well, and I have all the same ingredients. The first thing we should bring on is of course the shaker, this one. Then your gin. Then you have 3 mixers. You have passion fruit, licorice syrup, and lemon, or a C for citron. And these will be the first ingredients we are out to play with. This shaker, obviously it's a plastic, so you can use it again and again, has been through a vast history of shapes and sizes. And as you can see here, we have different styles of shakers. One of them is, one of the first styles was this one called a couplet shaker, which basically is you grab this part and then you put it back on. And the cool thing about this is that you can put ice down here and then put it down here. So while you're mixing in your shaker, the shaker can be chilled at the same way. You can use this. You can basically do the same with the Tintin shaker, which is the one that we use today. This was originally made with a glass part and a tin part, but obviously with the glasses continuously dropping or breaking, then you find out that it was much more financial wise to have a tin part. Also, this part, this shaker type is also very light, so you can shake a lot of cocktails without tiring. And you will figure out through this seminar that shaking is actually one of the most important part, that you can't shake weakly. You need to put some force into it, some heart and some feel. So this is a tin or a classic Boston shaker. The one that is resembled in the plastic shaker is this one. This is called a 3-piece shaker. This is very common for London bartenders. And London bartenders, they like to be very, very chic when they work. So obviously with the bow tie or even a full suit, as you might have recognized when you've seen like bartenders work at the Savoy cocktail bar, the American bar, the Savoy, the James Bond style, shaken not stirred, and so on and so forth. But the cool thing about this shaker is that you basically already have a strainer built in this part. So you have the cap, then you have basically the top part, and then you have the shaker part. Can you see? Yes, you can. So you mix in this, put this on, then the cap, then you shake, and then there's only the cap that we unscrew when we need to pour a drink. And obviously that's the same thing we're going to do with this one. So I promise you that we won't take too long before we start to shake. Only one thing I like to say is that antique shakers are found in a bunch of different styles and shapes. This one is a classic style 3-piece shaker with a small trumpet on, and then you can take it off and you have this as well. And this was my mother-in-law that gave it to me because she found out that I was a bartender and she thought I might like it. However, it is absolutely impossible to work with. What you should know is that these ones are mostly they're made in stainless steel. However, there are sterling silver versions at the market. If you find someone, you can actually get a pretty good bargain on an auctioneer's house if you should be lucky enough to find one. But they're super heavy, so it's not. I wouldn't recommend working with a sterling silver shaker. We have a bunch of other tools that you could use if you have if you like to equip yourself as a bartender at home. However, if you do not own a shaker, now you do obviously, but if you do not own a shaker, you can easily use like Tupperware or jam jars, anything that basically has a top on to shake your drink with. When we're making cocktails, because we're about to make the first cocktail, as you will see in your welcome letter, it's called a licorice sour. The licorice sour is a variation of a very popular drink that we made called Downtown Abbey. The drink was originally made at the Balthazar Champagne Bar, in which I headed almost 10 years back. In 2012, famed hotel d'Angleterre in the central part of Copenhagen reopened after 2 years of refurbishment. And they started out with working with a champagne bar that is located in the backside of the hotel. So champagne was the middle, basically the central part of the cocktail menu. And I refused to make a passion fruit cocktail because 10 years back in Copenhagen, passion fruit was all over the place. Every drink was supposed to be with passion fruit. Obviously, that was not the case for me because I wanted to do something new, something interesting for our guests to be working with. Taste-wise, something new, because elderflower, blueberries, passion fruit, that was all in all menus back then. So I came up with the idea that adding vodka, licorice, lemon, and champagne was the right way to go. And ever since, this cocktail has been by far the most popular one. So everyone keeps telling me it's one of the best cocktails they ever tasted. However, that's something obviously I would like you to hopefully acknowledge today. We exchanged the vodka with gin because we are not using the champagne in this version. And obviously we need the shaker. And fast forward to 2021, this cocktail still remains the most popular one that we make when we do, traditional cocktail catering. So I think I've been talking too much. Let's start to mixing a drink. First of all, we always go and reach for the glass that we're about to use. So the first thing you need to do is find the glass that we are mixing in. You'll be using a lowball glass or a wine glass. It's up to you. Then grab some ice and put it inside. It's okay to use your hands because obviously you've been sanitizing your aerosol for a year now, and I guess you have clean hands. The reason why we add the ice already now is because we want to chill the glass so we can make a drink that is much more cold, and obviously that's kind of the quality that we like to meet in this drink. Yes. Yes, we fill it all the way up, and I will show you why when we get to pouring the drinks. So you fill it all the way up because then it's already ready to be poured as soon as we have shaken our cocktail. The next step, now that we have a glass that is chilling, then it is to prepare our garnish. And the garnish in this case is the licorice pipe. I have to ask this question: how many have wasn't able to detain themselves and ate this beforehand? No one. Yeah, I know. Fine. You are so excused. People get surprised of how quickly this one goes down. You know, one bite and whoop, it's gone. Yeah. So, but now this is ready. So we have garnish, glass, and now we're going to shake. So bring the shaker forward. Then we're gonna reach for the. If I were a bartender if I were a junior bartender about to learn how to do drinks properly, I would always be told you need to reach for the most cheap ingredients, because if you do a mistake, you pour out the cheap ingredients and not the expensive booze, which is basically paying your salary. And the cheapest ingredient out of these three is actually the licorice syrup. Then another thing is these measurements. These measure 3. So there's 3 cl that are in each of these small plastic containers. And it's very important to know that we need to balance our drinks. So if you know already that you like drinks on the sweet side, you should pour a little extra licorice. If you like it on the sour side, you should pour less licorice. So just for a start, pour 2/3 of the licorice in your shaker. Yes. You didn't. Oh no. There's no licorice. Oh. Do you have honey or maple syrup? Okay, then grab the maple syrup. Did you get it? Perfect. Okay, then pour two centiliters of the liquor syrup. Then you grab the lemon and you pour also 2 cl of, or 2/3 of the content into that. There we go. And then the passion fruit is the full measure. Now that you've become accustomed to pouring the drinks, now we can add some flair to it. And flair is best measured in the way that you, obviously when you pour the drinks, you need to make it look extremely difficult, even though it's not really that difficult. The gin you have gotten is a Tanqueray, Charles Tanqueray, and it's the most awarded gin by far on the market. It's a London dry gin, which basically means it's a London dry. It was made originally by Charles Tanqueray back in 1828, and it was originally a distillery called Bloomsbury, which was the first distillery in London. They also have another version called Tanqueray 10, which is like the super premium. For the non-alcoholic versions, you will have a bottle of ginish. The ginish is pretty cool because the ginish is basically made with it's made with chili and a bunch of other herbs, like obviously juniper, and then it's distilled but without doing the vapor technique, which means that it's basically distilled alcohol without the ABV, and the chili gives that burning effect that we normally would get from the alcohol. So when we pour the alcohol, we need to be very proud of it. So it's always a rule that you need to make sure the label faces faces this way. And this is 5 centiliters or 50 mils. So if you want to pour the ginish, it's 5 centiliters or at least the same. But then we like to add a long stream, right? So you hold it like this, and then you pour it and smile like you're very proud, and we need the full measure. Or just 4 cl if you like to go easy on yourself. Yes. Yeah, you're obviously not supposed to empty the entire bottle, but if you have a measuring cup, or you can even, what you can do is you can grab this cap, this measure around 2 cl, and then you can pour, if you pour it like this, if you pour 3 of those, then you would have approximately the same amount. So that's the gin. So we have an excellent gin, we have some fresh ingredients, and we have, I like to hear that maple syrup version. I'm looking forward to that. Then we will fill this shaker with ice all the way to the top. But you can see there is a, basically if you measure until here, so you can see that when the cap starts, basically the cap area, then you know that it can't contain any more ice cubes. There we go. Then the cap onto this. And now for the shaking part. Obviously the most common joke in bartending is the shaker face is your sex face. I won't say that because it's simply outdated for quite a while now. The thing is with being a proper shaker is that this is the time for you to, let's say we were doing service, this is the time for you to be able to look at your guest and smile and make sure that you proudly present the drink that you're about to make. So either choose either side, because if you choose the side, you have the full movement of your hands. And we need to, do a very proper shake. You need to shake hard, and you need to shake for 5-6 seconds. Because the hard shake will make sure that the aeration in the shaker will make sure that the ingredients will bind together and get the proper dilution. You can always see a cocktail isn't shaken properly enough if you don't have that small white mist foam on top of your drink. So pull on that smile of yours, go up here, and then shake. And on my mark, you will stop shaking. Don't forget to smile. And go. You will see from the cap, it will slowly start to go through the strainer. Then you take out just a small part. Then you grab your glass. While this glass has been, chilling, there is some residual water, basically melted water. That's not what we do not want to have that in the drink. So pour the water out, and then we are ready to mix our drink. So when we mix our drink, obviously we like to do the same thing that we did when we poured the gin. So pour it up. Make sure there's a bit of a space between the shaker and the glass so it looks very classy. And then when you're almost done, you wobble the shaker and you get the last, because then you get the foam. There we go. And in the end, the drop, you lift the shaker up and you cut it like this. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, you're really good at this. Okay, cool. So now the drink is ready. In your case, you have some straws. So the idea is now that we like to use the straw to taste the drink before we garnish it. Also, it's important that we put the straw in the drink before we garnish it because we don't want to mess up the garnish. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the index finger to basically submerge, then put the finger on, and then if you're happy with it, serve it. If not, maybe add some little bit more citrus, a little bit more lemon. But I would believe that you're happy with it. Yeah, that's right. You can communicate with me by saying if you like it or if you do not like it. Then for the garnish, the garnish should be very, very clear for the receiver of the drink that the person needs to grab the pipe and then put it in. so in his or her mouth. So put it across like this. And then, if I were in a cocktail competition, I would raise my glass, proudly present the drink. Here is my liquor sour, ain't I am fantastic bartender. Thank you so much. And cheers for Little Friday, as we would say here. Finally, we got something to drink, right? So, the story continues with this drink. Obviously, the name Downtown Abbey probably is a weird name for a drink because it doesn't really tell anything about the ingredients. But we had a habit when I was working at Balthazar that we wanted to name the drinks after something that resembled something incredibly expensive or very stylish. And at that time, Downton Abbey was the #1 series, right? The big mansion, the Downton Abbey, if everyone's seen it. So I wanted to name the drink Downton Abbey. So when we sent the menu to our copywriter, we had this marketing dude who had to look through everything that I did because we had a very specialized font, a very specialized logo. He thought that I made a spelling mistake. He had no idea about what Downton Abbey was, so that's why it became Downtown Abbey. And since it was launched in the same afternoon, we didn't have time to exchange the menus, and also we used very expensive paper. So that's how the name came by, Downtown Abbey. And we actually sell these bottles on our web shop if you'd like to have even more of these, and we ship worldwide, or at least to the United Nations. Also, I wanted to say that this drink is still the most popular drink at Balthazar and still accomplishes approximately 15% of the total annual revenue. So I'm modest, but I'm very, very proud of this drink. I hope you like it. So one more time, cheers. Wherever you are, cheers. And let me know if you actually like this drink. So it's always good to see how drinks act differently through different cultures. Oh, okay, she's sweet. Any questions? Cheers, cheers. Oh yeah. Please. Thank you for waiting. Now, you are now allowed to eat a pipe. Or you can light it on fire and see what happens. All right, guys. So, the next drink. I got some snacks too, so make sure you keep it. So, next drink. The next drink is a build drink. And the idea with this drink was to highlight the fact that cocktails without alcohol really works well now. How the non-alcoholics, how do you find this drink? Do you feel that the alcohol is sort of burning? Do you think that it's just a juicy drink, or do you think that it's an actual cocktail? Because one of the things that the main things about a cocktail is that you need to feel the alcohol, you need to taste the alcohol. That's the whole idea of making a drink, that you find a product that you like, and then you make sure that the drink sort of presents the alcohol the best way. Well, you're absolutely right about that. Real gin is the real gin. But it's just for you guys to get the taste, and the rest of us is about to taste the alcoholic drink now without with the same ingredient, the ginish. So please do not forget that we have this one. Then let's clear our throats with a sip of water. And let's get rid of this one. So, the next drink is called a non-alcoholic Paloma. Paloma is originally made with tequila. Tequila, which maybe some of you know, is a drink made of blue agave. A little bit about tequila is also that today we have a lot of tequila types. Especially one of the most popular ones is the mezcal. Mezcal is basically made on every type of agave, and is smoked during the production process, which means it has a smoky flavor, kind of like a Highland whiskey. In order to make this drink non-alcoholic and still get the feel and vibe that you would get from a normal drink, it was quite easy. So if you grab the mix, get this mix, and open it. Yes. This is the yellow one, the light yellow one, and in this mix we added the ginish, a bit of sugar, lemon, and sea salt. So this is basically the full mix. Also, you need to grab your soda. You have a pink soda, which is, in my opinion, one of the best sodas ever made. But just before we start to do this drink, we have this shaker, which will be needed for later. So I will give you all like 1 minute just to clean the shaker, and we will resume the course. Right? So back in 1 minute.
Yes, guys.
Nils, you got back with all the ladies in the background? Where's that beach background, no?
All clean and ready. So all right, guys, so we have these two ingredients, yeah? So what I want you to do now is open the pink grapefruit, which, as I told you, is, in my opinion, one of the best ever. If you have a metal cup or anything, I'd just like to show you a little trick. It's basically holding it like this, put in this, and then you basically just flip it. And it's open. I once did this directly in the bar, and the cap ended up in the face of the guests, and as a result, I haven't actually done it since. Then open this one, and then this is the light one, the yellowish. So one of the Kaylin, which bar are you standing in? Oh, you're not even joking. Oh, holy! Oh my, we should have made a tequila drink then. I'm jealous at you. You're absolutely right. Best tequila and best tequila drink ever. So I promised you that I would briefly go through some of the tools that you could consider acquiring for your home bar. And one of the things is the jiggers. The jiggers or measuring cups is basically comes in different shapes and sizes. This one is a pretty big one, but it's called Mr. Thin because you can flip it while you work with it. And then there's these two. These are super cool if you want to make, really classic cocktails. And I want to say something about classic cocktails. As I told you just before our washing break, doing a very good cocktail is always based on making sure that the alcohol that you use are presented in the best way. So a normal drink would be made as a base cocktail. It's something sweet, something sour, and something, it can be a herb or something like that. And when we get to the mystery cocktail part, I will get much more into detail. But like we talked about balancing our drinks in the first drink, in this case we will do exactly the same. That's why I want you to taste both ingredients just briefly to get the idea that you had this small burn from a slightly tinkling of the chili, which is indigenous. You have the sourness, and you have a little bit of saltiness, and obviously you have some sweetness in this mix. Then you have the soda, which is light but very fruity, but it actually has a little bit of dryness to it. So again, we are making drinks for ourselves to begin with. Usually as a bartender, you always recommend the stuff you like yourself. So as we did when we did the first drink, the first thing we're going to do is grab our glass. And this, in this case, I would recommend you go for a highball glass or large wine glass, depending on what you have at home. And we will do the exact same thing as we did beforehand. Fill it up with ice. All the way up. When everyone's ready for the next step, could you just hold up your happy smile? Then I know to move on. Caitlin, you and I are going to become very good friends throughout this seminar. I can feel it. Well, all you need to do is just grab the glass nicely. It sounds like someone throwing it on. All right, so while you guys getting ready, you should also have received this cocktail lollipop. And this is not an ordinary lollipop. This is a cocktail lollipop. It's made inspired by the very famous New Yorker drink, which some of you might know of because you have seen the movie Sex and the City, Cosmopolitan. So basically this is a cranberry spiced lollipop, and it's equally as irritating to open up the foil as the normal lollipop, but when you get it out, you should basically just you should taste it before you do the drink, because when we have mixed the drink, we can either choose to put it across like this, or you can put it inside the drink as a stirring stick, or you can maybe even, moisten it a little bit so it gets very sticky, and then just stick it on the side of the cocktail. It all depends on how you like to personalize your cocktail. So, I assume everyone's ready now. Oh, another one that, oh, it's okay. You know what? It's okay. I would say like this, it's okay, because this is it's way too you know, tempting to taste it, but you should taste it just to get the idea. I mean, the spiciness is very vague in this one, but it does taste like cranberry. It does taste like Cosmopolitan. So now that we've got that inside our taste buds, let's start to mix the drink. So you have the 2 ingredients. So basically this is a build drink. So before we start mixing, we should get our us bartenders, one of my very favorite tools is the bar spoon. This one is called a Japanese bar spoon because it's super long and it's very easy for me to stir when I do a martini style drink or something like that. A more traditional bar spoon is like this because it's good for churning. So when making mojitos, it's super cool to basically just flip your drink and make sure to, you know, navigate through the mint and the rum and everything. Since this one is super expensive, I wouldn't expect you to invest in that, and neither the mixing glass, which is the glass that you normally use for martinis. Then either take this spoon if you have it, or you can use a paintbrush or you know, oh. Actually, I think it was a small child who wanted to be a part of it, and it's okay. We can understand. So yeah, you can either use paint brushes, you can use a tablespoon, chopsticks, and obviously a normal spoon. So we need this to mix the drink. So now that you have got the flavor profile of these two, right, you should mix the drink in a way that presents the drink the best. So I would personally go half and half. Some would go, you know, 2 to 3 or 2 to 1, and some would even go 3 to 1. But I like the mix to be a big part of it. So I suggest to do, if now you know yourself, but I will do a half and half. So half of this, and then half of this. And then, obviously, being very proud, I would grab my spoon or my bar spoon and then stir it up a little bit. The same way that you would do if you're doing a gin and tonic. You would take the gin, then the tonic, and then you stir the drink. So you make sure that the drink has the same characteristics all the way through. And, as we did beforehand, grab a straw, taste your drink. And from this part, you should get the saltiness, the ginish style of taste profile, and obviously the pink grapefruit and the lemon. Then from this point of it, you can choose either to add the straw, but actually straws, because you know, we bartenders, we like to work in a very it's called it's the same word that I keep forgetting. We like to work organic, and we like to work in sustainable, right? So sustainability is a big part of our game now, because as you know, that fresh fruit and stuff, do we use the whole fruit and nothing but fruit, but all the fruit, and paper loss and paper waste is obviously a big part of hospitality. So using a straw is actually not that popular anymore. So normally I would serve this drink without a straw. So let's say we're gonna go for that. Then you can either do as we talked about beforehand. You can either put this on the side like this, or you can put it inside the drink, which to me looks a little bit messy, but it has that cool flavor that you then can use it as a stirring stick, and then it tastes even better. Or you can put it across like we did with the licorice pipe, just to highlight a little bit. So when you serve the drink like this, and I would say I'm doing practice, and it makes super much sense to just grab it, and then you have the drink. And Paloma, dove in Spanish, and one of the best tequila drinks if you wanted to do this with alcohol. Cheers, everyone. You can unmute now. How many drinking this drink feel that they're drinking alcohol? If you could put on the... No? Should have a slight tickle in the back of your throat. No. But at least now you know how to do. Or maybe I'm just talking to a crowd that used to alcohol that actually tastes like alcohol. So you're very experienced people, if I may say. So cheers one more time. Now that we have 2 drinks, we will have some time to discuss a little bit about the other tools that I would recommend that you get your hands on if you like to equip yourself in your home bar. You can save these for later, and I would obviously recommend you try this and this with a healthy measure of tequila or mezcal. Obviously, Caitlin, you can do that if you like to. So normally when we do bartending, we have this shaker, and in order to use this shaker properly, we'd always use a strainer. A strainer is basically something you put on top of the drink in order to strain it after you've been shaking your drink. So I would always mix the drink in the bottom part, put the shaker on, obviously face the bottom part towards myself and not this way, because if I haven't sealed it correctly, then everything inside of the shaker would go to my face and not in the face of my guest. And then obviously I would shake it, then unleash it, or release it, then get everything single drop, or then you can play with your style. You can do like this, or you can do a flip and then put like this, or basically just put this to the side and then put this down. And then there are a few different, this is called a traditional Hawthorne shaker, and we actually got a company that made something that branded them for us, which I think is super cool. Another one is an Italian strainer, looks like this. The way they work is that this one can just go on top like this, and then there's a little cap here that you can basically, little tip, so you can basically push down this the coil, so it will be even more dense, so less stuff will go out, and less ice cubes and stuff like that, and then you will pour your drink. This one works in a little bit another way. It goes down the strainer like this, down the shaker like this, and then you strain. I like to use this one because when you do this, it becomes a much more even beam, so that it's much more easier to hit the glass, especially if you have a very narrow glass. So you could invest in this. Also, if you want to do this, when making drinks in a martini glass, which is the glass of choice that I would use for the next drink, I recommend that you have a fine sieve, basically a fine strainer, to add to your normal strainer. So you shake the drink, then you add this, and then you pour it over. Because making a martini style drink, you need to make sure that it's completely clear, so there's no bits and pieces or ice, chopped ice inside a drink, so it's super clear. And that's very important when you do drinks that are served in a martini glass. Also, if you like to know about when to do a shake and when to do a stir, the rule is basically that as soon as we add citrus juice to a drink, you shake it because you need the air to the ingredients in order for them to work together. And if you want to do a stirred drinks, it's more or less always comprises of some base liqueur, maybe some vermouth, and maybe a dash of sugar, and that's it. But normally a drink that is stirred is based solely on alcohol, like a Negroni or Manhattan or Old Fashioned, if you're familiar with those drinks. I just think that you are, now that you're so easy to instruct. Another thing is the yes. And no. The thing is, when we stir the drink, the thing is, first of all, the martini that James Bond he drinks is called a Vesper. A Vesper is basically a vodka martini that has gin and vermouth in it. The vermouth is actually an old Chinese aperitif called Quine Lillet, which today is just named Lillet. And when we just stir the drink, all we want to do is just add water. Mostly we want to just chill the drink, but we don't want to add as much water, and we don't want to add air. So basically we like to make sure that the gin and the vodka shines through as a strong, pungent, however very smooth drink. Depending on the quality of the gin and the vodka, obviously defines whether it's going to be a smooth drink or a very harsh drink. So if you're doing drinks straight up, you have to make sure that it's a quality product. It just really has a lot to say. Another thing is, when we shake the drink, we add a lot of air to the drink, and however the dilution will also be much more. So basically it's a weaker style of martini, which I don't get, because James Bond, the idea of James Bond is that he's super cool and he can save the world. But the drink he drinks is actually a weaker version of a classic martini. Just to be fair, not to take anything from James Bond now that you're a huge fan, but he doesn't drink a martini as a proper gentleman, I have to say. So if you want to do a proper martini, you add 6 or 7 CLs or 6 or 70 mils of London dry gin. I would recommend actually the Tanqueray that we did, and then just 1 CL, maybe just a half CL, or what's maybe 5 mils, 10 mils of vermouth, Nolly Prat, or something that is unsweetened, like a very dry vermouth. Stir it for 15 seconds, and then add a large lemon peel. Perfect martini. Was that question answered? Perfect. Yeah, so this is called the muddler. Also different shapes and sizes. If you want to buy one, it's mainly because if you want to do mojitos all night. And if you want to do mojitos, I would recommend buying one of these as well. This is called a Mexican elbow. The reason why it has that name is basically because in Mexico, when they do when they chop a lime and they squeeze the lime out, it's basically kind of resembles their arms. So some Mexicans, they don't even need to use a citrus squeezer or Mexican elbow. They literally just take the arm and just squeeze it down the drink like that, which is obviously super cool. But I would like to see a Mexican do that before I actually believe it. This is just a rumor I've heard. I've never been to Mexico, so I can't tell you whether it's true or not. Classic cocktails. Base spirit, something sweet, something sour, and it can be either a coloring agent or it can be a herb or something like that. If we have 2 different drinks on this part. We have for the non-alcoholic participants, we have this one, and for the alcoholic participants, we have this one. So this is the orangey, and non-alcoholics, you have this one. So I like to do this simultaneously. So I will be using I will be using 2 glasses. So basically this one and this one, and I'll take this aside, and I will shake in this and this. So this is a mystery cocktail. So you guys, you will be shaking it, and you will be tasting it, and you will be asking me, basically you can write it in the comments which ingredients you think that we have used. So the idea is, if you want to, you can grab a notepad or something like that, and you can write down what you can taste basically. Then after the drinks have been served and we have gone through a tasting session, I will come forward to the screen, and we will have a brief discussion about the way the drinks are flavored and how we've mixed. And obviously the one that nails most of the ingredients wins. The joy and pride of being the winner. We don't have an actual prize of it. So you have this, and you will be mixing it by basically pouring almost the same measurements as the first drink. So half of your shaker. We'll also be doing this with this one. And just a little bit of information about how to know how flavor buds or taste buds works. Every human are born with between 6,000 and 10,000 taste buds. Obviously, it's something you can train through, wine tasting and spirit tasting and tasting, different types of food and sweets and everything. Most people are accustomed to sweets because as a child we get, where we get straight from the milk, we get the sweet style of stuff. You get the porridge, you get the milk, you get the fruit paste and all that stuff. So as a norm, most people react very, very well to sweet stuff. And that's why making drinks maybe not be that hard, but making drinks that actually taste, balanced can be very, very difficult. Because as we get to know about taste buds as you train, you get much more accustomed to, hard liquor and wine and stuff. And the sweet will almost be too empowering for you. So it's the same thing when you look at sommeliers, when they taste the wine and they add oxygen, trying to go through the bottom part, the second layer and third layer of taste buds. It's always, there's a big of technicalities and techniques that you can learn in order how to properly taste spirits. What I want you to do is basically, what you need to know is that on the tip of our tongue, we taste salt. On the middle part of our tongue, we taste sweet. And on the back of our tongue, we taste bitter and umami. So that's the way it works inside the mouth. But it all starts here with the nose. The nose gives all the receptors the brain needs to work around in order to find and detect the different ingredients and how it's made. So before we start to shake the drink, I recommend that you basically you smell it. You start to get an idea of what it is. Both cocktails have exactly 5 ingredients. So there's 5 ingredients before that you should be able to get, and then a fifth that is basically a bonus. So you can taste it before we shake it to get an idea. Smell it. I'm doing the non-alcoholic and the alcoholic, so we got everyone on board. Yeah, you have the orange one. That is the alcoholic one. Yeah, exactly. So no, she wants to taste. She wants to taste. That's why we often have children participating, so there's no shame. So yeah, the orange one for the alcoholics, and dark red for the non-alcoholics. I'm just mixing both so we can have a conversation about this. But the same way. No, because you have the alcoholic. No problem, no problem. So I think you have the idea about what I want you to do. So without further ado, chill your glasses. And shake your drinks. Don't forget to smile when you do it. If you're using a martini glass, make sure to discard the ice. All right, cool. So, first of all, cheers. So, let's start with the alcoholic one. You need to write down the base spirit, the sweetness, which is in the form of a traditional Danish fruit. I can reveal that. Then there is a herb in it, and there is some spice to it, and there is a sour part. So that's the one that you need to detect. And the same for the non-alcoholic ones. You have something nutty, you have fruit, you have something sour, and you have base alcohol. And the base alcohol is non-alcoholic, of course. So let me get a little bit closer to you. Now I can really see you guys. So there's a comment section, right? So if you could just comment what your ideas are, then I would then we can have a good discussion about stuff, and we can after we've done the tasting, we can go through different types of you can, if you want me to show something extra from the equipment, and we can do questions, and we can do all sort of cool stuff. So let's see if I can see the comment section. Reactions, I guess. Whoa. Chat. Here we go. Oh, you guys are super. Here we go. Let's see here, past these. Let's see here. The so here we go. Tom Cruise. Experienced cocktail drinkers has a better ring to it. Oh, here we go. Tom Cruise behind you, get it? Helena, read. Okay, so Nils, Uso, Sambuca, Pernod. It's correct. In this one you have absinthe, which is basically it's a pastis. It has this anise flavor to it. So, good job. So both Nils and Philip and Soren, Megan, basically almost all of you are right, because Sambuca, Uso and Pernod are all anise flavored spirits. So I would say that is actually correct. Adrian, you say peppermint. To be fair, the herb in this is actually mint. So very good stuff, Adrian. Orange for the alcoholics. Ooh, apple. Morten, you nailed it. It's lime for the sour part. It's not apple, but I would say the flavor is very closely related to apple. Do we have some non-alcoholic? Have you started? Ooh, it's very close. Marianne, Pernod, anise, apple, lime. None have trying to guess it. It's not gin. Johannes, you did try. Let's see here. Licorice, apple, chili, Pernod, grape, chili, Bockfon. Oh, okay, I will reveal it now. It's the base spirit. It's rum, white rum. The sweetness or the fruitiness is rhubarb, and then there is mint, and there's lime, and there's absinthe. So that is the drink. I must say you've been very good at getting the mint part and the anise part. Oregano is actually not far from it, Helle. I like that because it actually has become a more common cocktail ingredient. So cheers to the alcoholics. Do you like this drink, by the way? Oh, the Clement. Matteo, is Clement your favorite type of rum? Yeah, French style rums are super concentrate. So, all right, Caitlin, non-alcoholic almond. You are right. There's almond flavor. No choosing. Yes, it's a lime as well. Here we go. Helle, apple, thyme, lemon. Licorice sour is overshadowing everything. Helena, I'm sorry. I hope I will try to do a better, a better balancing next time. Lime, pastis, gin, apple, vodka, grapefruit, oak, kvæl, quince, pear, meanings, white rum. I see. I'm super slow in getting, scrolling down to all the ingredients. Okay, cool. So yeah, we have in this one there's almond. That's correct. And you also you guessed on lime, right, Kaden? Also right. Beetroot. It's not beetroot. Same color though. It's a berry. No. Son, you nailed it. No, you didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. You were very close, son. No, but it is something with black in it. I'm almost revealed it there. As long as we can taste something, it's good. We're corona free. Adrian, I agree with you. Who said blackberry? Megan, you're right. It's blackberry, it's almond, it's lime, and and it's actually ginish as the base part. So then that basically is the full measure of the drink. There is also a little bit of ginger in it, just to enhance. So I like for you guys to get an idea of how drinks can be balanced. It's also a matter of whether it tastes good, because sometimes you can be absolutely sure that this is a good drink, but if you can't taste all the ingredients, you don't really. You will always reconsider whether to use it or not, right? So we've been through a couple of drinks now. Which one is your favorite, if I may ask? It's actually the same. You have, I must admit, you have actually a little bit of extra alcohol in the mystery one, because you have that dash of absinthe, which is super strong. We use a Habsburg, 86%, and it can be very empowering. That's why, especially also when you drinking wine, there will always be the first very apparent taste buds, and then if you wanted to really go very very detailed to the drink, you will always grab something, take it in, and then leave it on the tongue, and let it bleed in between, bleed down your teeth. Maybe you can add some oxygen if you like, and then slowly back and forth before you slowly sink it, because at that point you should always be able to detect the rest of the ingredients. It was actually a traditional rhubarb daiquiri with a dash of absinthe. So in that sense, you can also get an idea that classic cocktail recipes, if you want to do this as a sour, we would take, basic ingredients, like the rum is 5 centiliters, then it's 3 centiliters of lime, 3 centiliters of rhubarb. This is a rhubarb in mint syrup, and then you just added a dash of absinthe to enhance the drink a little bit. And that's the way that you can really start to get nerdy about the drinks. That you can then become much more creative with exchanging the sour part for maybe grapefruit juice or orange juice, or even add orange juice and lime juice. And as you know, that unfortunately the girl that hadn't got the licorice, we found a solution to that with you can either use honey or you can use maple syrup. By the way, that maple syrup version, how was that? Yeah. I will make sure to send a Downton Abbey bottle to you after this one, so you can get the real deal. Yeah. But thank you for trying to be a mixologist together with us. Any more questions? We have plenty of time left. At least I have. I don't know if you have anything you need to get to. But first of all these drinks are based on almost the same principles. That you have a base spirit, then something sweet, that's something sour, and then we add something extra to enhance the drink. And this one obviously is when you build a drink. There's one thing I like to say to you based on the gin craze that has been around for quite a while, and that is the way you garnish your gin and tonics. So it's basically just something that I kind of have to get it out of my system because so many people do it wrong. So let's say this was a gin and tonic. Normally we would slice the lemon in half and then take a small slice and just put it directly into the drink. I don't know if you can see, I'll try to get very close, but in this skin, in the peels, there's so much flavor that you always you disregard that if you don't use it, especially in gin tonics. So if you want to do a mean gin tonic or any style of drink basically, you should know that just using the peel, like cutting just the skin of the citrus, so you have it like this, and then you grab it like this, and then on top of the glass just push it. Then you get like a big cloud of essential oils, and those essential oils basically makes the drink takes it to another level, because then we affect the nose. And now that you know how taste buds works, then you can now start to incorporate that when you do cocktails. So let's say this drink, for example, if we did this and then added a spray of lemon peels, then the drink would already at that point, you would have guessed lemon instead of lime, or you could use lime peels, of course, and grapefruit peels. And the same thing with the martini that we talked about early on. Peels and essential oils and citrus fruits are so essential, especially because it's tickling your nose. So these essential oils will always make your drink better, and you can either drop it in or you can throw it out afterwards. So that's a tip I have to give pass on to you guys. Also, if you have any questions after this, please don't hesitate to go to our website, cca.dk, and ask us questions if there's something that you'd like to know. Mikael, see you around. He just said, what to add to number 2 if not tequila? Helle, okay. I would recommend that you try basically just do vodka for a light style of drink that you can have before a meal or in a very hot summer day. Obviously real gin and not non-alcoholic gin, actual gin. But also if you like to really get crazy, you could use bourbon whiskey. Bourbon whiskey has that kind of the same sweetness to it. The bourbon sweetness is almost the same there is in pink grapefruit, so it works really, really well together. Or even cognac will go pretty well, because of the grapes in cognac will work well with the pink grapefruit. The pink grapefruit soda works pretty well with almost everything. Just a matter of you trying to everything comes from tasting a lot of stuff, yeah. So make sure you get your hands on everything and start to taste things individually before you start to mixing them all together. Hej Ina. Bye Ina. Tak for i dag. Yes. In Denmark, there's so many of them, but unfortunately they're all suffering like immensely based on this crazy time that we live in, right? And that's also normally I would be in front of you making your drinks, so we could have a cool conversation about everything. Josephine is mentioning Lidköp, and I have to say that's one of my favorites as well. Not far from Lidköp, there's a small bar called Duck and Cover. They do all sorts of foraging, traditional Danish herbs that are found naturally in the garden and in the forest. So they have pretty cool and very exciting drinks. Some of the other ones will be Ruby. Deco was actually a bar that we consulted when they were about to open. And I just know for a fact, because of the staff, based on the staff, that the drinks there is just a lot different than most bars. But we have many very good cocktail bars. We have K Bar that has been there ever since 2002. balderdash. Yeah, Jessica, exactly. Balderdash, which goes totally out of line when it comes to ingredients. They use bone marrow. They use reindeer nuts at one point, because the guy he owns a rotovap, so he got his hands on some reindeer nuts. Then he would fry them on a pan and just drop it in the rotovap, and then he made a whiskey-based cocktail based on that. So if you want to try very crazy cocktails, go to Balderdash. He always managed to make it taste good in some way. But we have very, very good. I would say Denmark is definitely top 5 in the world. Yes, that's true. They made a survey on basically they made a crit the critic, the Politiken has a cocktail critic hired, and they did basically a story about the different bottle cocktails you can get, so you can support the local bars. That's pretty cool. Søren, the reason why I bursted out into laughter a second ago was because Søren basically told us that the Guinness can improve any drink. It's not entirely untrue. However, if you do it, I would recommend that you boil the Guinness, so you reduce it a little bit, and maybe you could even add some sugar and make it into a Guinness syrup, and then substitute the Guinness for the rhubarb syrup in this drink, and you could make a Guinness daiquiri. Try that. Søren, that I'll challenge you. If you make that drink and send a picture, I would post it on our Instagram saying this guy Søren is amazing. Jamil, thank you. Bye. Any more questions? Then I would like to say thank you so much for all your efforts. Thank you for being a part of this, all the drinks and everything. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and that this experience, hopefully, they gave you a little bit of we always try to talk about this kind of service as a way to strengthen the mental health. By basically adding alcohol to your everyday life is not something new. I just know that it has quadrupled for most people during the past 12 months. So I'm just happy that we can supply you with even more alcohol, and then we do it all together, so it doesn't feel like we are basically drunk, so everyone. So once and all, cheers everyone. Thank you for being a part of this. Helene, anything you'd like to add? We had some unforeseen circumstances that made this job a little bit difficult, but we tried to manage the best way. So thank you for trusting in us. I hope you all had have some pretty cool weekend plans. And if you want to continuously be a part of our story, then please find a way to either follow us on Instagram, and if it's okay with you, I will add you all to our newsletter, which will be basically sending out drink recipes and stuff like that. So thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure. And again, if you have questions, just let me know. And yeah, have a joyful afternoon. Bye bye. Bye bye. Mm-hmm.